See if the marina will start. I've not used it for a while. It's been sat around here for a little bit too long. Battery could be flat, anything, but hopefully we'll go for a little drive. Right, the car's not been started for probably at least, I don't know, 3-4 months, which is when the last time I did any video on it. So turned out I think the battery was dislodged itself, possibly after the last little run out. Did a little bit of a burnout, quite a weak burnout to be fair. But anyway, we'll see if it can get this thing running. Find the right keys. There's a few jobs I've got to do in this car, and you know, it doesn't stop it from being driven, but I do think it would be good to do them. They're not going to get done in this video. This video is purely to have a little chat about I don't know, about old cars you used to own, and have you ever been given the opportunity to buy one back? What did you do? Well, there's a little bit of a story that how a 21-year-old Ben decided to buy said car once, and just a little bit of a journey of what happened, and you know, what's happening now. So see if we can get this going. Now obviously if the car don't start, it ain't going to be much of a video, is it? It's just going to be sat, I'll be like Jeff buys cars, just sat in a car in a car park. Although this isn't a Volvo estate, this is a Marina turbo saloon. But see if we can get it going and go for a little drive on this lovely spring evening here in Warwickshire. We've got it started. It's got oil pressure, so that's good. What more do you need? Oil pressure, running all 4 cylinders. But I think first job on the list of jobs to do on this car is fix the ignition switch and remember why the lighting wiring is in pieces. You wouldn't believe that I got entered into a finalist as the Restorer of the Year award for Practical Classics once, would you, with this car? That's another story. First rule of this car when driving it, always take the key fob off the key ring and keep it in your pocket, because if you haven't noticed, it's got no door handles, and I've been in that position before where I've locked them in the car. Right. So this video is a little bit different to normal. I'm out of the garage, and the reason is, don't you sometimes feel you need a bit of momentum, something to get your, you know, something to get you enthused. Something to get you enthused and sort of like think, oh, the thing is, I feel bad. I mean, this video will either work or it won't. Having the microphone attached to the camera in a loud classic car may or may not work. No, so what I was thinking is, like, there's a lot of guys who've got just one car. They're working on it in the garage and just trying to get enthused to go out there and work on it, you know. The dream to drive the car, the dream to use it whenever they want. Well, I'm lucky in the sense that I can drive this pretty much whenever I want to. It's not a show car, it's not a car that really is anything other than, you know, my modified classic. It's, you know, it's built the way I would do it. But it's something I can drive, and I'm thinking, like, I don't want to go in the garage, you know, I want to drive something, and that's kind of what I'm doing today. So it started, so that's good. It's got oil pressure, it's got fuel, it's got a charge. So I thought I'd just go through. Right, so when I was 21, well, no, let's go back a bit further actually. When I was in 6th form, so I was probably about 16, 17, I used to see a car at the side of a road that was used every day, and I used to think, I'd love to own that car. I thought it was fantastic. It was a 1987 Ford Capri, 2.8 injection special. It was on an E-plate, but it wasn't a Brooklyn, so it was late registered, shark grey interior, half leather, all that usual stuff. Had 15-inch RS alloys on it, and I used to think it was the dog's danglies. I thought it was fantastic. Don't know why you'd think the dog's danglies are fantastic. Anyway, so yeah, so flash forward a few years when I was 21, my dad phones me up and says he's seen this Capri for sale at the side of the road. So I was like, oh, okay, yeah, go and have a look at it. It's the same Capri, fantastic it was. And I just had to have it. So 21-year-old insuring themselves on a 2.8 injection special, and yeah, I bought it. I put an MOT on it because I think I had a short MOT. There's a few little jobs that needed doing. It was some sound. I think it had to have a rear wheel cylinder, possibly a power steering pipe. I can't remember. But I used it. And I've used it really because about 2000 and I want to say 2007, 2006. I was coming home late one night. I mean, it was early hours of the morning, and I remember smelling coolant and thinking, I'll be right. And I don't think at that point, I don't think the temperature gauge was reading anything particularly awry. I can't remember. It was quite a few years ago, like 15, 16 years ago. And yeah, so I was thinking, this isn't good. So anyway, so yeah, I basically I drained it of coolant and probably doing about the speed limit, and I pretty much cooked the block. Or at least I think I did. So the car went off the road and it came with me. I did a big move and it came with me and it ended up sat in a barn. And I decided one day, after a chance conversation with a local body shop, to get it restored. To restore it and to put it back to how it should have been, which was just basically arches and wings, I think. It's in fairly good condition. I sourced a recon engine for it and got it all back together, and it looked fantastic. I'm really pleased with it. I was a bit of afraid to drive it, which seems bonkers, but it's like you know you do these things, you spend this money, you spend the time on these cars, and you're sort of like, I don't want anybody to damage it, because I couldn't afford then to put it right if it did happen, and all these sort of things. So I did use it. I used it and enjoyed it. And another chance conversation with somebody, I bought a Turbo Technics kit for it, put that on it, and yeah, it was rapid, it was good fun, and did a couple of runs up to Ford Fair over a couple of years, I think, with a mate of mine. And then circumstances, you know, as they always do, change, and at the same time I was thinking I needed something more family orientated, and so I sold it on eBay. Took pictures, some good pictures I took of it, and it looked really cool, really nice. And then I yeah, sold it. The guy, so I was living on the Isle of Wight at the time, and the guy flew down from Leeds to Southampton Airport with a bum bag full of cash, and we did the exchange of all the documents, original bill of sale, all that. We did the exchange of documents near the airport in Southampton, and off he went. And I said, how long do you think it'll take you to get home? And I'll never forget, he said, well, depends how many times I'm stopped. It's like, okay. I mean, it was a fast car. I'm not too sure what the engine was reconditioned, but I never had anything to do with it, so I don't know that it was overboard or anything like that. But it was pretty rapid with the turbo kit on it, so I'm sure he had fun driving it home. And he went back to Doncaster, which is, funnily enough, I'm pretty sure that's where the car was originally registered. So I thought, well, it's going back home, and I'd spent a lot of time researching, because I had the original bill of sale, the original dealer, and I got dealer stickers made for it, registration plates made with the dealer logos on it. I was really pleased with how it came out. I wouldn't have said it was Concorde, but it was close to it. It was close. But the main thing for me was that it was all original in the way it looked. It looked like it came out the showroom like that. It was its original colour, and it was a great. You know, he off he went, and that was that. And every couple of years or so, a mate of mine would sort of message me and say, "Oh, it's Capri's still there. Capri's still MOT'd. They've MOT'd it again, and all this sort of stuff." And you know, I just didn't. Not that I didn't want to look, but it was sort of like a bit sad, because it was kind of one that it was the car I bought, having seen it at the side of a road for a long time when growing up, and yeah, so I didn't really sort of engage much with where it might have gone, and you know, I wasn't really into the sort of Ford scene, if you like, so it could have gone anywhere. But after a few years, I'm getting gear. Second gear, come on. Third gear. That's second. Look at that. Yeah. So where was I? Yeah. So after a few years, I think, you know, you just forget about them, don't you? You just, you know, you don't see them, you don't hear about them. And the fact that it was so far north, and you know, I wasn't really interested, I don't think. So anyway, we're now what, 2023. So I get a message from a mate of mine, and he says, "Just seen your car, your old Capri, for sale on Facebook Marketplace." He said, "But they've absolutely ruined it." And I was like, okay. I thought there wasn't much to ruin. Well, there was a lot to ruin, really, but there was, what I mean is, there wasn't, you know, other than what would you have done to it, because it was in fairly decent nick, I always thought. Anyway, so I had a look before I had to go out somewhere. I thought, I'll have a quick look. There was loads listed on Capris for Facebook, and I was like, oh, okay. And I clicked on the one that was red. I thought, that's not my car, I must be mistaken. Different registration. It was a 2.8, I think, and it was red. And I was, oh, that's not it. Scroll down again. And I found the picture of what I used for the advert when I sold it, the eBay advert. And I know exactly the picture, I know where it was, I've got the copies of the pictures. And I thought, well, that's a bit odd, using the pictures I'd used to sell it now. Because it ain't going to look like that still, surely, unless somebody's kept it in a airtight, dehumidified garage. So I click on it, and there's loads of pictures, but amongst them, there's how it looks now. Somebody had painted it black, the RS alloys were no longer with it, they're all on steels, the interior had been stripped, it looked like it had been jacked up, I'm not entirely sure. I'll put the pictures in, and yeah, I just was like so disheartened, so disheartened, because you know, I'd spent a lot of time and money on that car, and the memories came back, and you think, well, I've got an opportunity to buy it. So I messaged the guy, and I said, well, that was my car, you know, I did it. He advertised it and said, you know, what had happened to it. And I said, yeah, that was my car, E75 UDT. And he said, wow, you know, couldn't believe that somebody would have stripped it like that. He hadn't done that. It was whoever I think he bought it from. Struggling to get into gears for some reason. Yeah, basically the upshot is, he said, you know, do you still want it? Do you want to buy it back? And I was like, it always comes at the wrong time, you know, you either don't have the space, time, the money, But also, it wasn't the car I remembered. It wasn't the 2.8 injection special in red with the 15-inch alloys that I remembered. It was now a black mess, really. And to put it back to the condition that it was in would cost a lot of time, space, money. All of which, you know, is I don't have. You know, I've got this to look after. You know, we've got the restoration of the other marina in the garage, and it's not the car I remember. But if it had been red, if it had still looked vaguely like it used to, but it like needed a little bit of a touch up or a repaint or something, I would certainly been tempted to buy it. I just think it's a shame that how it ended up. And you kind of, part of me thinks, oh, I'd love to grab it, make it as it was, as I remember it. Because that's what we do, isn't it? You know, it's nostalgia, it's hunting for the memory of something you once had, or drove, used, abused. And I just think, well, mostly I'm not having it back because I can't afford it, I think, at the time. And I've got so many other cars I've got to get done, which I'm using the channel to obviously promote that. But I think the fact that it's no longer the car I remember, it's a shadow of its former self, which is a real shame because it was such a nice car, so original, unabused. And when I say original, I don't mean it had the original 1980s air in the tyres and it had the original paint and all the rest of it. I get that, it's not that. But I just think it would have been so cool to have had it back, that nostalgia, that memory. And I think that's what we do when we restore cars, is we're creating the memory for somebody to pick up and go, yeah, you know, that's nostalgia. That's what my dad had, that's what I had, that's what my granddad had. And that's what it is for me with the cars that I'm restoring. With this, if you want, if you watch the video of this, which is the first video I put out on my YouTube channel properly, and it was one of those where I didn't really do a lot of talking to the camera, if any, because I didn't have that confidence, I think. But if you watch that, there's a little bit of a history of, you know, the car that I bought, again by chance, but it was the car that I had on my bedroom wall. It was the Fast Car magazine pull-out was on my wall. So that's what this is. This is my nostalgia. This is my hit for that. The Capri probably should be on that line as well, but I think the Capri, if I had the money and the space and the time, well, no, that's not right. If I had the space, the money, I would get it back, and I just store it for when I was ready to do it. But, and I'm surprised, I mean, I sold it for, and I'll be quite honest, I sold it for about £8,000, and that was in 2010, I think, which was a lot of money for a Capri then, I thought. Let's go this way. It was a lot of money for a car of a Capri, I think, but I thought to buy it back again now, you'd have been easy doubling it because it was in such good condition, I thought. So to find it, it's kind of like, well, that's the best way of finding it, in a condition that is basically a project, which is what I like doing. But I think I'm going to hold out because there'll be others that'll come along that'll be more original. It won't be E75 UDT, but at the moment I haven't got the space, time, money. But I just thought I'd share that little story with you. It's not a particularly exciting story. You know, it's a story of a car. You could say the one that got away. I let it go. It wasn't. It was. It was necessity that it had to go. I needed something more family orientated, and I bought this, I think, I want to say 5 years later, I think I bought this. Yeah, this is a 4-door, so more family orientated. It's not really. It's got no door handles, Ben. It has seat belts though in the back. So on to jobs for this car. These are jobs I've got to sort out because I say it's been parked up for a while. I've remembered it hasn't got a heater, and the reason it hasn't got a heater, it's a very good reason, but also that comes to another story. Okay, so the reason it hasn't got a heater, well, the heater matrix basically rotted. So I was looking, as everything I do on this car is like, well, how can I make it better? So I looked how I could make it better. I thought I'll put another heater matrix in it, and I was looking at different sizes and costs and such, and I ended up buying a Land Rover. I ended up buying a Land Rover Matrix and fitting that into a Marina heater box and modifying the heater box to take it because it's slightly wider, but it's deeper as well, so it means you should get better heat flow through it. And so I did all that, and then went to put it in the car, and because the intake pipe for the turbo sits right next to the steering rack, it's also close, and it was running across the back of the engine, I couldn't actually connect up the heater because on the Land Rover Matrix the actual pipes are sort of like a Y or a V, and so I couldn't get the R. So I ended up just doing a heater delete, looping the pipes, and then in 2000 and, oh goodness, when was it? 2000 and, I want to say 2020, I can't remember if it was 2020 or 2021. No. Here! Here! It was 2021. We did Land's End John O'Groats in 24 hours in this car. It was great fun, but it was a little bit cold. So yeah, ended up having to put some gaffer tape over the cold air vent to the heater box because it was a bit cold. We saw snow and all sorts, but you know. So yeah, that's the reason it hasn't got a heater. And so that's the job that he's doing, is to basically put that in. And I have done part of that job. But in the watch the other video, what did I do? Yeah, basically I changed the way the intake pipes come into it. So it can now have the heater fitted back. So that's the job. The ignition switch needs sorting out, as I've showed you before. The battery in the back needs a new clamp or tray making for it, because when I did the last video, it shifted and fell into the spare wheel well. The spare wheel needs putting back into the spare wheel well. If I'd put the spare wheel in the wheel well, the battery wouldn't have shifted into the wheel well. So I need to do that. It's also going to have a ticking noise somewhere on rotation, and it stops when you put a foot on the brake. So hopefully that's just an easy fix. So yeah, there's a few jobs to do. So let me know in the comments below if you want to see those jobs get done on the channel. I have got a few jobs to do on the Marina, the other one, the blue one obviously. So that's kind of my every other week video. Let me know what you want to see in these videos. A little bit different to the restoration type ones. Just me driving around in the turbo Marina, or another car. Did the MG the other week, but I no longer have the MG, that's now gone. It's gone to a new home. So yeah, let me know. Ben's car story.
I've been hanging on, counting days, thinking it was me all along. Had a million conversations in my head about where it went wrong. And I've got no idea where you've been, who you are, not anymore. All I got is this Polaroid picture of us from June 24th. It's where I kissed you for the first time, laid on your sheets. You gave me your heart and said you trusted with me, but all I did was let you down time and time again. It wasn't my intention, maybe we should have been friends. So, you're someone I used to know, but nobody